Yes, there are some of those. When you mention water, that's a peculiar one. But that apart, a lot of the money you spend it enticing them to vote for you. It's not the basic one. So let's be careful that we don't lump everything. A lot of the money you spend trying to change their minds. The constituents, the delegates may find that Mr. X is not competent. So in their estimation, they will not vote for him. And Mr. X wants to spend all the money to change their minds. You see, so yes, we as lay citizens, we appreciate that, yes, sometimes MPs have to use their money and all that to be able to provide certain basic necessities for the citizenry. But a huge chunk of the stress on the MPs, those who were the other politicians, that the citizens or the delegates would have made the decision that Mr. X is not competent. But Mr. X, in his bid to be able to persuade them, then resorts to giving freebies. We all know that when it comes to these matters, as soon as you mention the cost of elections, straight away, I'm sure you are looking at delegates and cocoa season.
That's right.
Delegates and cocoa seasons. What? Roofing sheets, cement, television sets, iPhones, etc., etc. These have nothing to do with water. You say, so I appreciate Honorable So, but as I said, I mean, viewers watching us, they also follow the politics in Ghana. And I'm sure the larger majority just see it as that these candidates spend the money to entice the voters.
And that does not directly go into improving the livelihood of the constituents.
Absolutely, absolutely. So please, they will need to do a lot more to change that. You remember the elections, so many of them, but the most current one that comes to my mind is Kwabenya, this Okwe Junior, and then Adwa Safo. You saw real money, right? Yeah, it was such a challenge. They were falling over themselves, dishing dollars, TV sets, all that, right? And there are so many other examples. So that's point one. Point two, I agree with JM that yes, you see, and for me, Mr. Okansi, the key thing is that he said including. They would do far-reaching reforms, amending the constitution to improve governance and the political situation in Ghana. That's the way. So in law, as soon as you say including, meaning you are not talking about only Article 71. Because if you look at the reports, usually 71, yes, the money is quite gargantuan, but generally when you compare it to the total emoluments and all that, they will tell you it's not up to 0.00 something. You see, there are some figures in the various reports, Buando report, etc. Right? Yes. So, like if you look at the last one, the Professor Ya Intiamwa Bedu report, right? So you look at them, they will tell you that total figure. I agree that it be abolished, but I'm saying that the key thing is that JM says constitutional amendments including. So let's pay attention to the other ones that follow, because this money, it's not the main problem. The ex-gratia is not the main one. Yes, what it does is that, but because it's most visible, because Mr. Kansi, if you were to become a minister, by the time you leave, then your living standards would have more than quadrupled my living standards, assuming we're classmates. So it becomes very visible. You know, as a society, when you can provide more and I can't provide, then it breeds resentment. Yes. So when people say they don't understand, I'm like, no, then they really have a long way to go. Because people are classmates to the ministers and all this. And in natural fact, look, a lot of the time, the ministers are not the best in our society. They are not the best. When you go, you look at your classmates, often the ministers we have, the president and all those, they are often not the best. But, you know, because often they have certain attributes, bravery, and also they say they have passion for the job.
Eloquence, charisma.
Yes, but those don't necessarily make them the most honest. And you see, they look on you, his books. In our politics, the number one ingredient, the number one attribute we need is what? Honesty, integrity. That's the first one. It's not about your eloquence. We don't even care. But even in the current parliament, there are some MPs who speak very bad English, but there are MPs there. We can't judge them as based on only the poor English, right? We are looking for honesty. That's the first item. Yet in our politics, we've thrown it away, and it's about the other things. Oh yeah, he can give money. It's all about moneycracy. You see. So the point we're making is that now let's come. Once JM says including, let's go to the really serious provisions, or let's say the more far-reaching provisions that we need to take care of so that it can improve our governance. The first on the list, for how many months now, every day, in one form or another, it comes up, Article 71, Clause 1.
That's right.
78. Appointing ministers from Parliament is the number one thing. Yeah, that thing, we need to stop it. We need to stop it. We'll amend it so that a minister will not come from Parliament. So it means that when you are elected an MP, at the time you're going to stand for MPship, you know that you will be an MP only. There's no way you get to Parliament and be appointed a minister. That's out of it. So that as you're going, you should know that your job is cut out for you as an MP only. A lot of the things there, Professor Achuaye is written, Professor Okwe, so many of the political science professors, they've written that a lot of the MPs go into Parliament as a stepping stone to get ministerial appointment, because that is where the money is. The minister approves the contracts and all that, then he makes 10% and 20% and all those percentages. And look, that one is not a secret. We've all accepted it over the years. That's where it is. That's how come. So the truth be told, when you abolish ex gratia, for a lot of them, ministers, deputy ministers, you really haven't caused any dent in the money they make. The real money is made in the contracts, right? Yeah, so we want to improve the governance.
So you want that specific provision addressed?
Yes.
Yes, John Mahama has talked about other reforms, but you want, I get the understanding that you want some specificity. So specifics, apart from Article 71, which he talks about scrapping ex gratia, you want Article 78 as well, Clause 1.
Yes, and
as one of the specific clauses
it's
that
the highest candidate.
Amend.
Yes, it's the highest candidate. It says that ministers of state shall be appointed by the president with the prior approval of Parliament from among members of Parliament or persons qualified to be elected as members of Parliament, except that the majority of ministers of state shall be appointed from among members of Parliament. Majority. Look, we are just going to scrap it. We've done it before. 1979, Liman's Constitution, the 1979 Constitution. MPs were MPs only. There wasn't this hybrid. So let them say, let's go back to it. You see, now we've grown to that extent where we expect meritocracy. As we said, the president is usually not the most intelligent in the country. Far from that. But it's other qualities that bring, the person to office. So we shouldn't just pretend that as soon as the person assumes the presidency, then it means that all of a sudden he suddenly become wiser than everybody. No. Let's put in proper swords of Damocles around the necks of our politicians. Yeah, put in proper swords of Damocles so it's hanging on your neck. Yeah, that's proper checks and balances. So apart from 78.1, the next one, in my estimation, that we should be looking at is the election of MMDCs. So you are going through Article 55, you are going to 240, 250, etc. Simply put, we should elect our district chief executives, municipal chief executives on non-partisan lines. It's crucial because also what is it going to do? It's going to make the MMDCs accountable to the citizenry. As we currently have, or in the current situation, they are appointed by the president, so they are not directly accountable. But when we vote for them, they'll be accountable to us, and most especially on non-partisan lines. Let citizens feel free to participate at the, local level. But where you have it done on partisan lines, no. Some citizens don't want to get into party politics because, truth be told, look, it's largely true that often the politicians are crooked, and it's by the results. They're crooked, all of them. You see, apart from, Atta Mills, who had that high sense of honesty that we all judged that was an honest man. A certain president doesn't qualify as an honest man. JM didn't do well. We were very angry with JM. That's why we voted him out and brought in Nada, President Kufuor, and he's proved to be worse than JM. Okay, Jerry Rawlings had his own problems. Kufuor, the same thing. He too was shopping. So you look at it so far. That's what we call experience. So far you see that all of this, apart from Atta Mills, was a judge very honest. The rest have failed. So simply, let's learn from this experience. We don't want to give everything to the president. And then also we'll cut down the numbers. So apart from 78.1 saying that don't appoint this, ministers from Parliament, also we should put in the numbers. So if we are capping it at 60, let's put it in the Constitution. If you rely on the president, he can't do it. Everybody. I thought President Kufuor was going to change Ghana. we used to, they say, no, that guy is ruthless. He will do it. You see how he increased the numbers to what? 125, 126. You see, so that's a big lesson to us. Let's not gamble again. Let's not gamble. So apart from the, what do you call it, the DCs, that election, let's come to the constitutional bodies. The third one. You see EC, SHRAG, and NCCE, Bank of Ghana, those, please. Let's change the mode. That one, I think we should.
The mode of what? Appointing the heads of these institutions.
Yes. I think
it shouldn't be done by the president.
Absolutely no. If they become weak,
who should appoint the heads of these institutions?
Good. That one, I think we should remodel it to give the people the direct power to do it. Yeah. Maybe we
you mean the Ghanaian people?
Yes. Online voting. Online voting. We can do it. We will set in place certain procedures. They should be vetted publicly. On all this, big
vetted by who? Parliament?
We form a committee. Okay, the committee should be appointed by Parliament. Okay, men of integrity. Questions should not leak. Do you know there are some presidential debates where questions were said to have leaked and the rest, right? We don't want that. So we want men of integrity who vote. Parliament should select those people, or maybe we can even throw that one out also to the online voting. Maybe a list of people. Or nominations. Okay, we want the 100 most credible, most honest people in Ghana. We vote for them. Then out of that, we further select. Then they will be in charge of the selection process.
There's another concern which I'll come back to, and I need to go to Lawyer Ikwetu on this, because you see, there are some people who are perceived or described as honest until they are appointed. They get into the system, and you wonder if they are the same people you knew.
Like before,
I didn't mention names.
I'm saying it's one example.
But you understand the point. You understand the point that yes, the Ghanaian people can actually vote for somebody whom they perceive to be honest.
Yes.
The system, when they get in there, you wonder if this is the same honest person. Yeah. Okay. So there's apart from what you're proposing, maybe there should be other ways of not just getting honest people in office, but ensuring that they remain honest while in office. And that comes back to the point about strengthening institutions and the implementation of existing laws to ensure that they are accountable and don't take advantages of the weaknesses in the system. Because as humans, as we are, the basic instinct is that you take advantage of weak situations to your benefit. Okay? So, but I'll come to you on that again. But like I mean, this point about the scrapping of ex gratia, apart from you being a former Attorney General, I mean, you've headed the Constitutional Committee of the NPP before. Okay? So these are some of the issues that may have been considered by you. But your thoughts on this? It's a promise by John Mahama to scrap the ex gratia and other related.
Okay, let me say that every election has its own dynamics, and that the issues that informed us in 2016 will not necessarily be the same issues now. And so, generally, when you are in opposition, you want to look at what are the topics in town, what are people looking for, what changes would they, embrace, and then you capitalize on that one and start making promises. You can't win elections without making promises. You begin to make promises. I would drastically reduce the prices of petroleum products I'll put money in your pockets.
President Kufuor said that.
Well, these were things said by John Atta Mills. I'll put money into your pockets.
No, for the fuel one, it's Nana Kufuor who said.
No.
The fuel increases shall be a thing of the past. He's 18
please. I was a member of the drafting committee. I was a member of the manifesto drafting committee.
I'm surprised.
I'm only making those references to you by telling you that it all depends upon the dynamics when you are going into election. So when you see that the problem is fuel and people are complaining, say I would drastically reduce fuel. You understand? I'm saying that he is not the one. The fact that I mentioned Atta Mills, I'm not saying that he was the only one who made promises, but I'm saying that promises are made on the basis of the issues prior to election. And this has come up, Article 71 has come out strongly, you know, for some time now, that look, why don't we scrap it? We are having difficulty with our finances. Why do we pay so much money to people? So it's only taking advantage, saying so that it will. I thought that there were things we said about even comparing the fuel prices in Ivory Coast, Togo, compared with what we were having just before we came in. And they said, look, it is the petroleum build-up, you know, the duties and taxes and the rest will reduce them. You know, these are quite easy to say. It's only when you come in that you face the reality. When he was facing the heat, Mahama himself, he told those who were attacking them that have you been president before? Wait till you become president, then you understand. You remember that?
Yes.
Yes. So again,
and he was right, isn't it?
So he cannot now claim that he's like an angel who now has all the solutions. I mean, the people like you yourself said that you got to a point that we're so fed up with him that we decided to vote him out. And it is on record that he lost with the highest margin, almost 1 million. Before then, people were saying it was over 1 million. But actually, when you do the math, it didn't get to that. But it was quite close, you know. So, well, he's just taking advantage of the situation. That people are talking about S. Gracia and they seem not to like it. Almost everybody has, I think the Constitutional Review Commission spoke about it, and the rest. He's already enjoying, he still continues to enjoy.
But like somebody should return his. And it's a good call, Mr. Kansi. Yeah, it's not saying he should return his.
Your mama should return his S.
Yes, it's a good example. He should. Look, let's speak plainly. We are not kids. I mean, I'm not in a court of law. Mr. Mahama made money whilst as president. Okay, so he should look within himself and say, look, you know what? I will return this. Return it. Because I think the national elections they are going to do it, the hundreds of millions of dollars, where does it come from? They made money. So the S. Gracia is small. So just say, you know what, people, I've grown older. I think I've become wiser. Here, I'm returning the money. That S. Gracia. You should return it. It's a good thing. Because you see, after, let me speak. You see, if we don't speak plainly and we just want to say law, where is the evidence, we'll never make progress. Because corruption is not done openly. Look, the thing is this. If it were just the little 10% that Kwame Nkrumah's time used to happen in Ghana, we wouldn't have had this problem. But the corruption that was in Kwame Nkrumah's time has more than quadrupled. That is where the problem is. So that, you know, when I say 10%, Kwame Nkrumah's time, they used to collect 10% from the contractors, and they put it in a fund. Is that the Omanfo for Trust or something? And they were using it to build schools. Senior, you were here, you know that. So in our history, Kwame Nkrumah's time, they used to take 10% from the contractors, and they used it for projects. So I don't know whether that's what has festered or whatever, but fast forward, now the 10% is collected, and people put it in their pockets and enjoy.
So it doesn't go to the state.
Exactly. So the point I'm making is that, look, Mr. Mahama, you know Dan Kpebu Yeboah of Peace FM. I think he's the lead campaigner for Mr. Mahama to return his S. Gracia. When I looked at it, I said, yes, it makes sense because, look, Mr. Mahama should do introspection and see that, yes, let me return it as a sign of what? This good faith. That, yes, once I've returned this money, that's it. I'm committed. And then number two, the amendments. He should put them in writing. Also, he said, they will do far-reaching constitutional amendments, including Article 71. Excellent, we agree, he's done well. But let's put all in writing, signed by him. So a letter addressed to the people of Ghana, that these are the constitutional amendments he will be, championing. And signed by him. We don't want it in a party manifesto. Look, let me show you, party manifesto. You know the MPP promised that when they come, the conduct of public officers bill, they will amend it, blah, blah. Under the current draft, they want to make it in such a way that you declare your assets, okay? Yes, before you enter the office, right? Even before you are sworn in, etc. And if you don't, you won't even get to enter the office. And if you were to hide it, you lose the office straight away.
Right.
You know, currently under the Constitution, it's for Shraj to look at it and say, oh, they will punish you, this, that. You know, Shraj allows. You know, Jean Mensa didn't declare. Shraj just gave a slap on the wrist. The commission didn't say she should lose her office. And at the current draft, no, if you won't even get that far, if you were to sneak and enter, take office before declaring, you lose the office, etc. Other beneficial provisions. My point is that President Akufo-Addo has vetoed it. I'm using vetoed for lack of this is a better word. He sat on it that no, they will not pass that law. Check. Occupy Ghana wrote. It's been in cabinet. It's been lying there gathering dust. And then Occupy Ghana wrote. The response is that no, they are not going to work on it. So the point I'm making is that because it's a party manifesto, it's the whole party. So when you talk about it, yes, you can give President Akufo-Addo part of the blame, but the rest will go to the party. That's why I'm saying Mr. Mahama should write all the constitutional provisions and sign, address to write. Then we'll get copies.
That he intends to.
Yes.
So that will be a means of accountability.
Yes. Yes. So that every time we show him his signature, JM, did you sign this? Did you sign? Did you sign? If you sign, is that your signature? Can we get it? You see that it can move it forward rather than being the party manifesto. Okay? Yeah, that's the point on it.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. There was a question that came through from Dr. Kwame Asante. Says, what will the returning of the ex gratia by JM signify? What signal would it send? This is to you, Lawyer Martin.
Okay. Yes, so simply, the people are saying that they just want, remember, they want evidence that he's really committed. That's it. So that's it. Oh, so Professor Asante, good morning. Yeah, but I like him from afar. I don't know if that person, but I like his inputs and all that when he appears here and other media. Yes. So what they are saying is that, that's why I said it's common sense, but it's very deep. They're saying that, okay, just return yours. As soon as you return it, it means that you've committed yourself. There's no way when you come into office again, you do a U-turn and go and collect.
That's right.
Because I would say, but when you're in opposition, you could return this money. How come now you see it? So it will be very incongruous. So the symbolism is very important. It's just like, let me show you, when Obama became US president. But if you were politically astute, you know that he couldn't have suddenly changed everything and given all the resources to change the plight of blacks. We all knew that he couldn't have done that. But the symbolism that a black man was now in the White House, it gave us pride, confidence that we too, we can aspire. That's it. So symbolism is very, very, very important. Don't underestimate it.
And that moves beyond words. And you say that also adds another layer of accountability.